be right. Well, I was in another group this afternoon, and they were talking about stay away from Fiverr, especially if you want to get your book translated. If
Hmm.
you're at that level, then to get your book translated into another language, because they found that the translators on Fiverr are very iffy and very unreliable. And it's kind of like people who
Hmm.
have that as it could be their first language, English is their second language, and they're looking to make extra money.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
they're not
with any
certified, they're not this
freelancing.
or that or the other thing or whatever. And
Mhm. Yeah, but I think with freelancing, it's any of the freelancing sites you need to be careful. Although Reedsy does pre-vet their people, so they have to go with a little bit long, a little bit more credentials and things like that. But it's like anything else. It's a buyer beware. There's lots of great people out there. There's also lots of, people that are not very knowledgeable or using AI or using, um, other people's artwork and trying to pass it off as their own. There's a lot of things, and that's why I put together a list of pre-vetted resources for those that are looking to um, work with reputable companies, and they just don't have enough knowledge about who they can trust. So I do have a great list of people that you can trust and that will be there for you and you don't have to worry about.
I tell you, since I put my author site up on Facebook just to say that I'm doing this, I have been inundated with people messaging me with, I'm
So
an illustrator, I'm an editor, I'm a this, I'm a that. And if I hover over their name or their picture, everything comes up blank. So I'm like, well, if everything comes up blank and and I get no info on you, you're a nobody, and I'm not going to even respond to you.
I agree. And it is one of those things where, you really have to be careful because, um, hold on, because you can very easily be taken advantage of. And, that's what we don't want. So, that's why we do what we do here. And I don't want to see that happen to anybody. Let me see. We got a couple of people. Hi, Michael. Nice to see you and Vicky and Denise. We've got, yeah, I'm just here hanging out. For those that are just catching this on Facebook or on YouTube, I'm streaming this live. I do this weekly on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's really my opportunity to give back to the author community and say, ask me anything. Are you stuck with self-publishing? Are you, not sure which direction to go? Are you just looking to see whether or not self-publishing can be right for you? That's what I'm here for. I've been doing this for about 6 years now. My name is April Cox, and I am the founder of Little Labradoodle Publishing and the creator of Self-Publishing Made Simple. So I'm here to answer questions. No question is off limits. Um, no question, there's no stupid questions here. So if you've got something to share or you have questions, and I can help you move forward, then feel free. And if you're online watching this on YouTube and you want to join us on Zoom, you can go and put in aprilcox.com/Zoom and it will redirect you here to us. So you feel free to join us here. Or if you have questions, you can also post your comments and questions on the YouTube, and I will try to track and follow that as well. All right, let's see. So I have some people showing up. Good evening, Scorpio and Medju. Medju asks, is this domain still worth a doctor? Sure, I know what you're talking about there, so you'll have to clarify. Scorpio says, how many reviews do you recommend a book should have before launching a manual campaign on KDP? I would definitely wait until you have at least 5, preferably more reviews. But the most important thing to have is the prerequisites, a really well listed, high quality product. So that means a great cover. It means a good description and blurb that's going to speak to your target audience. It's also means that you should have a listing on Amazon that is optimized for so that when people go to the listing, they see high quality images, they see, you know, a well-written description, you've got good keywords, and you've got categories that you've selected that are not too competitive, so that as you start selling and as you start posting things to Amazon and people start seeing your book, it is a high quality book that they will want to click to buy. So low, no, there's nothing you can do to sell a low quality book, right? A bad cover, poor illustrations. You can spend as much as you want on Amazon, and that is not going to sell your book. So make sure you have those prerequisites. And then a handful of reviews is a good place to start. And obviously, the more reviews you have, the better, because that's your social proof that we want to have as you market your book and get your book out there, get more visibility on the book. I hope that's helpful. If you want to post a link to your listing, Scorpio, feel free to do that. And I will, in between other questions, come in and we'll pull it up on Amazon, and I'll give you some live feedback on whether you should make any tweaks to the listing before you go live. All right. Anyone else have any questions? Hi, Vicky. Just need to take yourself off of mute.
Okay, I'm have a couple questions. I'm interested in Justin's
Mhm.
and how that would play. I'm really interested in, I just definitely want to make sure I have a book for my family
Mhm.
and then make it as good as I can. And then as time goes on, if I do the homework and I do it right, and if I put it up on Amazon, it's ready to go. If it's not, that's okay too. But Justin's, how do they work with authors in I remember you talking at one time, and there was something that you had mentioned that they will help you. I don't know if it was Ingram Spark or what that was.
So Justin's is an offset printer. Is
Right.
that what you're looking to do? You're looking to print a
Yeah. And
quantity of books. How many books are you thinking about printing?
well, at depends upon where I can go, and time is limited here and there.
Mhm.
So it's going to be sporadic, probably. Sometimes I might need 20, sometimes I might need 50.
Okay.
So I'm kind of going to self-promote for a while and then go from that point
Mhm.
of view and see where that takes me. And then if it's really something that's wow, this is something that people need or I feel like I can handle, then I'll go and do that. So I was thinking Justin might be a good launch pad
Um,
for
I
my
would,
needs.
I do love Justin's. They have great high quality work, but they're more for those that are printing in higher volumes. So I'm going to give you the name and a contact information here for Kristen at Formax Printing. So it's Kristen at formaxprinting.com. I'll put it in the chat also on YouTube. Uh, what the difference with Formax is that they will print smaller quantities. They have a very high quality book as well. I printed my last book, my little Labradoodle book with them. And if you're going to print, you know, 100 or less, or maybe even 200 or less, then you're probably going to have to go to a smaller printer. Jostens and some of the, you know, China-based printers and others like that, really, it doesn't make sense. And they might even turn you away if you're not printing in large volumes. I think, Michael, you came up with that issue as well when you reached out to Jostens, right?
Yes, I was actually just putting it in a chat right now. But Justin's, I only wanted like 200, and she was very helpful. She said you really have to break about 1,000 for Justin's to be economically a good choice for you.
Yeah.
So she actually referred me to smaller printers, digital printers, that could do the runs for much cheaper, a local person that
Mhm.
was in Louisiana where I live. So it's like right down the road for me. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to meet with him next week. So
Perfect. I'll
yeah.
give you one other contact that I have here as well. Lakeside Creates. So Laura Peterson at Lakeside is another that will do smaller print runs. So I would go ahead and, get some prices from either one or both and just have some preparation. And it also gives you an opportunity to say, what's your timeline? Like how many people are in the queue ahead of me? Maybe the pricing is relatively the same. Maybe one of them is much farther away, so you have to pay more for shipping. So there's lots of things to look at. And obviously, if you can find a local printer that, like what Michael found, and they create high quality children's books as well, then that might be a really great opportunity as well. So don't rule that out. And some people might be saying, well, April, can't I just order from Amazon or from Ingram Spark? And you absolutely can. But if you're ordering, say you're going to order 50 books, I bet if you went to Lakeside and you went to what it was the other one I just mentioned, Formax. If you went to Formax and Lakeside to get a recommended or quote from them, they would probably come back with similar pricing as what you will pay on Ingram Spark. So why should you do it? Because for that same pricing, you're going to get a much higher quality product. Of course, print on demand is very convenient, but it's not as high quality. The paper's not as thick, the ink, and the binding may have issues, and it can be a little harder to kind of control all of that. Where if you work with a small printer, you can maybe you'll pay a little bit more, but it's going to be well worth it. Go ahead, Michael. I saw your hand raised.
And just to build the relationship too, because I'm finding the more people I talk to, the more people they know to get me in touch to do more stuff.
It is a wonderful thing. The more you talk about your book, the more people will help and guide you. And all of a sudden you find that there are people who know people, and they're going to open doors for you. And that's why I always tell everybody, when you first, your marketing begins when you first start writing your book and you first start doing anything on your book. The more you talk about it, the more you'll find more and more opportunities and people interested in learning more about it. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks for sharing. Hi, Delphine. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Tell me about you and your book, and how can I help you today?
Well, I've got a children's book ready for an illustrator, and I've got a couple of collections of poetry that I would like to, probably because of the expenses, start with a chapbook for poetry and then type out my poetry collection to get that edited. So any ideas what to do there?
Well, how many is this going to be a long book? How much poetry is going to be in it?
I would say with the chapbook, they, the normal size for a chapbook, but for the collection of poetry, maybe 100, 120 poems.
I think a really great person for you to reach out to. So you're looking for an editor?
Yes.
So I would start with Joanne Skye. She is very knowledgeable. I'm going to put her contact information in here for you. Joanne Skye. And if you find that Joanne is not available and you need some additional recommendations, I go to Readsy and take a look at individuals, because I always say find an editor who is really well versed in the genre that you're writing in, and that will do a developmental edit for you. Don't skimp on editing price like I did. I made the mistake with my first book. I thought, oh, one editor wanted $300, but I could go onto this service over here and do it for $50. And I wasn't realizing there's a lot of different types of editing. And if you're doing poetry, you
Yes.
need somebody who's really well versed in poetry. If you're doing a
Right.
children's book, it should be somebody that's professional, who's got a lot of experience with that. And the $50 editors were really just proofreading. They really weren't giving, and I'm like, why am I not getting the quality? Why aren't they telling me what I need to do different? They were just proofreading, or they were looking at my grammar and punctuation. And that's not what we want as we're finishing our books. We want a developmental edit, a comprehensive edit. And then, yes, those other things will come once they make sure you've got a good story arc, or that things are organized well, that there's a good character arc, that there's stuff that, you know, flows well, moves well. Then you move to that next level of line editing, copy editing, and then eventually proofreading in the end. So just make sure you're getting the right kind of editor as well. But I think Joanne could be a really good person for you to start with.
Okay, thank you. I did have I've already had 2 developmental edits by an editor. Now I can also do my own edits and proofreading. Would that be something that you would recommend, or pass it on to someone different?
Yeah, I would always pass it on to somebody different. So if you have a developmental editor, that's great. So now maybe you're at the point where just a quick line and copy edit or a quick proofread could be plenty. Excuse me. You know, could be enough. And you just want to find somebody who, with fresh eyes, that can go through it for you.
Yeah, you've got to do that edit before you get the illustrator, right?
So if you're, well, I would finalize the information, and I guess it depends how far along you are. For example, on your collection of poetry, you could probably get started with some illustrations for those, you know, for if the tweaks that are going to be made to each poem are probably very minor, and you know exactly what you're going to want for these illustrations, then it might not be as much of an issue. For me, and for most of the people that I work with are children's book authors, and sometimes people will come to me and they're already started on illustrations, but they didn't do editing. And so I have to back them up. And sometimes the story changes because it wasn't as well coordinated or organized. The story arc shifts, and then some illustrations have to be thrown away or reworked altogether. So just kind of assess the situation and see if you'd be in that situation as well. So for example, if you got that chapter book, I probably wouldn't be reworking or I wouldn't be illustrating that unless you have if you're already really far along and you know that, yeah, for this chapter, I'm only going to have one little spot illustration over here. It's not going to change. I need that anyway. So you can assess the situation as you go.
Yeah, I got the children's picture book, and I've done 2 developmental edits, so I'm going through it again now. I haven't looked at it for a couple of weeks. I'm going to go through it again, do the mock-up, which I've done a number of times, but to make sure it's organized a little bit better, and then I'm going to pass it on and get advice from somebody else, and just I've been looking for an illustrator now for the past couple of months for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I have, what have you decided on a specific style that you like for illustrations?
Yeah, my book is a nonfiction a book, and it's lyrical, and it's about it's a nonfiction book, a book about Canada geese.
Okay.
And yeah. And most books, nonfiction books about animals, tend to have mostly facts. So what I tried to do, because I have a background in teaching, I wanted something to be more for storytelling, but have facts inherent with. So it's dealing also with the seasons and the migration of them, but in a way that I hope draws kids in. I've got a very lyrical style.
Okay. So you want something. So what I would say is, as you're looking for an illustrator, maybe think of a sample of one scene or one animal that you want to illustrate and go through a sample with them. I would typically write up the scene, give an example of the animal, you know, maybe a picture of the animal and a picture of something that shows them the kind of style that you like, because Disney Pixar style is very different than like a very whimsical style, which is very different than what you might see in just very simplistic black and white drawings, like what you see in Wimpy Kid, right? The Wimpy
Yeah.
Kids, right? So
Right.
they need to know what it is that you're looking for. And then
Yeah.
I typically recommend 3 samples. One, pick 3 different illustrators and then
Okay.
go and give them the same exact thing. And then you're going to start seeing things come together.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that will help you get to the point where you'll be able to pick your illustrator.
Yeah, I've been looking at different types of styles in that. So I prefer to go with the realistic style, not so much computerized drawings,
So
that type of thing.
that's what I
So
was thinking too. A realistic
Yeah.
style that's
Yeah.
got like a lot of really nice detail could be
yes.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and I just messaged you with a name that you might want to check out, I think would be really good. And I'll actually give you a couple that I know have done, beautiful things like that. And I'm not
Okay.
sure if they'll be available, but it's well worth checking out.
Okay.
So Crayon animation, I do really love. I also, Rita Goldner is one of the illustrators on my list who does beautiful animal work, nonfiction stuff. She has done
Okay.
like a book with swans and, orangutans and all kinds of other things. So you can check them both out. I'm sure if you search online, and they'll be able to send you a portfolio as well. They'll send you the portfolio link so you can check it out further. Awesome. Any other questions? Let me just quickly look at what I have here online. Okay. It looks like, Scorpio, it looks like the chat is blocking you from sharing links. So I'm going to just put my email address here. And if you want to send me the link to my email address, I'll pull it up and we can check it out that way. I'm sorry, I forgot that the chat gives you problems when you're trying to post links, probably because of spam protection and phishing and all kinds of stuff that can be, cause issues. So, but I'm happy to take a look at it. Okay.
I have a question when you can.
Go ahead.
My question is, you helped me and we kind of looked at a subtitle, and the subtitle was a collection of stories about family, adventure, virtues, and inclusion for kids 4 through 8. The word inclusion is for the visually impaired. Is there another word that I could use other than inclusion for your visually
So I
impaired?
think that was a slightly different, I don't think we ended up with that exact title because that to me seems a little bit dry. But the word inclusion has been expanded recently and is quite the buzzword. And it talks about including people who are different, including people who have a disability. It could refer to any kind of inclusion. It's just not leaving out anybody, regardless of whether they're the same or different. I think you're right. It used to be much more focused around, visually impaired.
Mhm.
It's so much more than that now, especially with social emotional learning, focus on in the classroom and in homeschools. Lots more books, and you'll see if you do children's book inclusion, you'll see a whole ton of them, and they're in lots of different areas.
So in the visually impaired, is that all right to use that word, or should I keep on trying to find another word? I looked it up, and this is a preference that is called, but disabilities is one, but disabilities also has an umbrella of many, different situations or you're dealing with. So, but you're visually impaired. Can I put disabilities and that covers that or just keep visually impaired probably is what I'm
Let
thinking.
Could you do me a favor and give me a little summary about the story and give me and then rename and talk about the title again?
Okay.
I'm afraid that you might be going, so deep with the how detailed it is that and I'm wondering whether or not that's a big enough niche or whether you should be a little bit more general.
It is a compilation of several stories, and it's about it comes from the Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Love is patient, love is kind. And in that verse, there are 15 different themes. And from that, I have collected these stories. And so it is about a hummingbird, and the hummingbird is the writer of these stories. And the children, there are 4, and three of them are siblings, and one is a cousin, and they go on all kinds of adventures together. So it is a treasury to think of. It is a storybook. And so that's where adventure comes in. The family had just adopted a little girl, and she is blind with low vision. And so the children in the family and everyone helps her on all of these different adventures and helping her, get used to bug collecting, getting used to going, doing fishing or whatever wherever they go. So that's kind of what my stories are about to help you with that. So it is for family, it is adventure, it is about virtues, kids 4-8. So I'm working on the hummingbird itself is Corey is the little hummingbird's name. So we had talked about someone and talking before said perhaps starting a title with Corey's Tales. And then kind-hearted gifts of friendship. After each story, there is a gift that the hummingbird is opening up, and that gift is patience. It could be perseverance, thoughtfulness. And so that's where gifts comes from because it is a part of, since I illustrated the stories.
Right.
But yeah.
There's a lot, and I think this is where the challenge is that there's a lot of different themes involved. And so with the books, you need to, and it's a collection. So because that's why there's so much going on there. I love the idea that you're using the hummingbird. I think that the image of the hummingbird and kind of as the narrator telling your story is going to be a lot of fun. I think kids will love it. But boy, it's not an easy one to come up with a subtitle on. So you're talking about and you said it. He is a hummingbird. A hummingbird's
He tells the stories and
Corey.
writes the stories.
Mm-hmm. Collection of stories about, you said family, and the inclusion part of it. Could you expand a little bit more on how they're including people as well?
Well, that's why I kind of asked that question because inclusion is so broad-minded and mine is about the visually impaired. My background is inclusion in public schools and getting children in the regular class. That is inclusion, which is very different than how it's being used today. So I thought, whoa, I better talk to you about that before I use that. That's not really where I think my stories are in using that word. So I
Yeah.
thought there might be a better one.
So if you say, when we go back to the visually impaired character that you have, is she in all of the stories? Is it like
You would be in probably 70% of them.
Mhm. And the other stories, are they also about inclusion or and differences and making, is it more friendship, just adventure?
It's mostly about adventure. It is about friendship. That's a big piece. That's
Mhm.
huge. And so that would be part kind-hearted gifts of friendship. The children learn how to become friends by using um the gifts, which are virtues.
In collection of stories. I'm thinking adventure. And guys, for those of you that are listening here with us, if you've got some ideas, enter it in the chat. I'm thinking a collection of adventure stories.
Can I ask Vicky something?
Go ahead.
Vicky, is each story covering a different virtue?
Yes.
Okay, so how about the Hummingbird's Tales of Virtue?
Uh-huh. That's definitely what I have here is Corey's Tales, Kind-Hearted Virtues of Friendship.
No,
Corey's
but you're
Tales.
you're telling too much. You're telling about everything. You gotta like just shorten and saying like the tales of virtue or something. Don't list all the virtues in the title.
Okay. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the subtitle is a great way to expand on some of the other keywords. And one of the ways that we use this subtitle is to hone in on some of those keywords that are going to be really important. So I'm going to go to my next question is, tell me about your target reader.
My target is 4 through 8.
But the person that's going to be
Oh,
buying,
the reader.
yeah,
It is for
what do they
parents.
like? What do they care about? And what would they be looking for in a book?
They are wanting their children to have friendships. They have a problem, and that problem is their child might be struggling at school with friends. How can they be able to give some tips on how to make a friend? How do you do that?
Oh,
And so that's what this book
that kind of brings in a whole different thing, doesn't it? Knowing that that's really the audience that you're trying to help, then we need to make sure that the title and the subtitle together speak to that audience, as well as the hook you put together in that in your description, that first sentence or two. To help kids make friends. So a collection of adventure stories, so that it's going to help them make friends. It's going to encourage kindness. Gosh, it doesn't flow as well. We're going to keep working on it, and I'm going to still keep playing around with it, but
You can say how to win friends because that's already a huge book. How to win friends and influence people. Maybe you could play off that keyword and people
interesting.
off that. How to win friends and gain virtues.
Hmm.
I don't know, but how to win friends. Dale Carnegie's book is huge.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How to
Collection.
win friends
Good
using
idea.
virtues.
Again?
How to win friends using virtues. Because you don't want them losing their virtues of happiness and kindness and that.
Is your audience a Christian audience primarily, or
Primarily, but not from what I've tried to do is keep it as open for all children, but it is the basis comes Christian from a Christian Bible verse, and that is where these stories came from. But I wanted it to be open for all children at the same time.
right? I'm going to plug in some things. We're going to work on this as we go. And I can take some other questions. We can circle around and see what other things we can come up with. But let me keep playing a little bit. And Vicki, we're gonna solve this problem.
It's hard.
And when we do, we'll be like, why did that take us so long to figure out? But yes, it's really key to know your target audience. What do they want? What do those parents and teachers and homeschoolers want? And what is the child going to get out of it? And what kind of words, do we typically think about when we think about a story like that? So in other words, what will people be searching for? A book to help my kid make friends, right? Things like that.
Yeah.
How to be a good friend, a children's book about how to be a good friend. Um, you know, we want it to roll off the tongue easily. And sometimes we try to put so much in there that then it stops being, it doesn't roll very well. So we can still keep playing with some of that.
Because it's breaking through isolation. And CTT kids feel a lot of isolation because they're the only ones with the special ed designation of the IEP in the regular ed class. That's my niche. Those are my kids. Those are my children.
This is the
Those
power
are my
of being
babies.
together in a group like this.
Those are my babies all my
Yeah,
life.
so
Those are
tell
my
us a little
babies.
bit more, Denise, expand on that a little bit about like the challenges that they face. And what do you think that the parents and the kids would really
They
resonate?
want them out of the special ed situation. They want them in the regular ed classroom. So they're kind of in the regular ed classroom, but they're still kind of stigmatized because everybody knows they got an IEP. Everybody knows they get help. Even though half the class, or at least, a quarter of the class has an IEP, they all get help, and the rest of the class are regular ed kids. But they know that the speech teacher comes in and helps them, or the OT pulls them out, or the PT person pulls them out. So they're in and out of the class a lot of times. So they're missing some of the work. So by them missing some of the work, they're falling behind a little bit.
Right.
So it's kind of like, yeah, they're in there to get, they're in a smaller group with an extra power, an extra aide in the classroom, and a second teacher in the classroom, to help them with the work and help that those 12 that are in the room out of the 30 that are in the room, but they're always being pulled out for something. So they're missing part of the work, even though they get the extra help in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
I'm a special ed teacher as well, so I was. And just I think that's probably where I came from, and my biggest focus was helping my kids get fit in feeling good about themselves.
And mine was getting my kids out of there.
I am typing, and you probably hear me doing that. I'm just
No,
typing.
we don't. We don't.
Oh,
I'm very
okay.
silent typer.
Don't hear.
I'm asking ChatGPT what it thinks about it.
But yeah, those kids felt they felt not picked on, but kind of isolated, stigmatized. Um, Even though there were, 12, 11 other kids that were in the same situation as them, but some of them had more services than others. Like I said, some of them had the speech, the OT, the PT, adaptive phys ed, and who got pulled out, who didn't get pulled out. Some kids were in there with just the IEP, they were in the CTT class, but they didn't get all the extra services because they were just learning disabled. They didn't have anything else. Other kids have lots of stuff.
One of the things that came out with ChatGPT here is, let me just type it in here, is embracing friendship and kindness for every child, including those with unique perspectives, or you could say unique abilities, or including those. I think, is that another way of saying disabled, or
Yeah, that's very good.
embracing friendship and kindness for every child, including those with unique perspectives, or unique
Abilities.
abilities, or
Yeah. I would say abilities.
yeah. So that subtitle there kind of, it rolls very nicely, but yet it does say a lot of the things that we want to say without feeling like it's keyword stuffing a bunch of things. Let's see. a book about embracing kindness. So
Just have to come up with a title, no.
yeah, well,
That's what we got stuck on.
I think Vicky, your title, you wanted to focus on the name of the character, right?
The Corey, because these are Corey's tells, and in the cover, the Corey will be on the front.
Mhm.
And it's where what we're working on now. It's with praise, and she is doing that. And the Pels are the four children, but Corey is the hummingbird, and that's she felt like that children would resonate with that.
Corey Hummingbird and the Virtue Pals.
Uh, let me just see what I'm looking at here. I probably should share my screen, but I know I'm kind of like going back and forth, and some of my searches aren't very productive. So as I pull some things together, the other thing that it came out with too here is Fluttering Tales Adventures with a Hummingbird Narrator. And I was like, that's kind of what I told you it was, but hummingbird narrator. You said Clarence.
Corey.
Corey.
Right? It's Corey.
Corey's Tales. Tales of, it's not Tales of, it's
So we have Fluttering Tales of Adventures.
So it said the title would be, a good title would be Fluttering Tales.
Oh, I like that.
It is kind of nice, Fluttering Tales. And then it said the subtitle that it was throwing around was Adventures with a Hummingbird Narrator, Embracing Friendship and Kindness for Every Child, including those with unique perspectives. It's kind of a lot,
Mhm.
long thing there, but Fluttering Tales is cute. And then Quarry and Story rhyme. So I wonder if we could use anything for the title. Tell me a story, Corey, or tell me a hummingbird story. Or Corey, tell me a hummingbird story. I don't know. I'm like trying to think. I'm thinking in rhyme, and I probably shouldn't because I'm so bad at it. Thank goodness I have an awesome rhyming editor. I don't know what I was thinking writing rhyming tales. Yeah, let me see. The name of the hummingbird is Corey.
Corey Hummingbird and his Virtue Stories.
Let's see. Fluttering Tales with Corey the Hummingbird. And then the subtitle of Adventures in Kindness and Friendship for Every Child. So I'll put that here.
Okay, that would be great.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
That one sounds the best.
So far, I think you're
I
right.
think it is.
And if I'm just looking at a couple of other things that I'm throwing out there just to see about keyword for you as well. Let's see what I can come up with here. A collection of stories. So we also wanted, I found a beautiful keyword phrase for you. I don't know if you'll want to use it for let me just see if I can zoom in on this for you. So when we talk about a collection of stories, I wanted to see what competition comes up here. A collection of stories about kindness and friendship is what I put in. And as you see, I'm searching on Amazon here. There's only 253 results for that, which tells me you know, this could be either not very popular or a great opportunity to be able to compete more easily. And here you got inspiring stories for brilliant boys. You have You Are an Amazing Girl. So these are, it's coming up with stories and collections, wonderful short stories for about boys. I think, you know, Fancy Nancy stories, and she has a treasury as well. So I went to my Chrome extension here with which is KDSpy. It, by the way, it's only $60. So if you are going to be an authorpreneur, and we all want to be, and you're really going to work on your author business and doing better as an author, you're going to need some analytical tools like this. Spend the $60, get it, you know, get this tool on your Chrome as a Chrome extension. What this is showing me is popularity green, revenue potential of books under this keyword green, and you can easily compete for this. We also see average monthly revenue at around $10,000. We see all of the stories, I mean, the books on this page from 1 to 20, their estimated revenue and their estimated number of sales. The one that you saw there, You Are an Amazing Girl, that is bringing in $65,000 a month.
Wow.
Just under 6,000 sales per month. It's got a ton of reviews. So yeah, I mean, there's potential here, but there's more than just that one doing well. We've got, if I can click on this link up here that just sort the column, and you know, we've got 3/4 of these are making $1,000 a month or more, and the top, you know, 4, 5, 6 are, you know, just around $10,000 or more. So to me, it sounds like, you know, there is a demand for this. It's a great keyword. It says there's great potential, and the average of all of these is making around $10,000 a month. So this would be a great keyword phrase for a subtitle. But if you don't want to use it for the subtitle, you could always use it for, you know, inside your keywords where you're setting up the keyword phrases that you have.
Uh-huh.
A collection of stories about kindness and friendship for ages 4 to 8. I think that's,
Thank you.
yeah, very simple, and people know exactly what it is. And I think you can have your hook speak about, you know, the whole idea of visual impaired, or, you know, great for other kids that don't quite fit in, to help them, and to talk about friendship and inclusion, or however you want to word that. You can expand on that in the subtitle. So I think that could be really helpful.
Okay. Thank you.
We made a little progress. I
A
think that's
lot of progress.
all right. Good. Anybody else have a question here? Let me see the chat. Yeah, oh, so Michael was saying, what's the big selling point? What's the unique selling proposition? You've been listening to some marketing folks, right? I like that. That was I think going back to the presentation we had for this past mastermind with the get your book seen and sold, right? Yeah. Special kids adventures, Delphine said, something like that could be interesting. I think it's, the other thing too is, I think it's more about not just kids who have special needs of one or disabilities, but about all kids, you know, embracing them and seeing them in the stories, and seeing an example of how to behave and how to be a friend to those individuals, and helping those individuals understand that what friendship really is and how it works, and hopefully to create a climate where they can all flourish and, you know, add those values. So I think that's more what you were going for, Vicky. So, but I think it's not easy because it's a mouthful, right? There's a lot to it, and spending the time to get the messaging just right is not going to be quick and easy, but you're on your way.
Okay.
Good, good. All right, so let me see. Anybody else have a question? I'm not seeing anything here.
April, just for clarification, the site that you were just on is called KDSpy. You said it was a Chrome extension?
Oh, let me, I'm gonna put it into, it is a Chrome extension, and I'm gonna put a link here for those who would like to go and purchase that tool. I wasn't planning on selling it by any means, but I do have an affiliate link for you. So if you're interested, let me just get KDSpy. Let me just test that link real quick, and then I'll throw it up in the chat for you. Yep. Okay. So I am putting it here, and I'll throw it up also on YouTube as well. This is where you can get KDSpy, and you might even just buy me a little bit of a lunch or a coffee with the affiliate link. But it's great. It's absolutely a wonderful tool. One-time fee. You don't have to pay over and over again. And anytime you're on Amazon, all you have to do is you just need to go to Amazon and do any kind of search. So if you're doing research, let's just say a collection of poetry. Somebody earlier talked about a collection of poetry that they're doing. And if you were just looking to see, what other collections are out there, maybe it's a collection of poetry for children. You can search start with Amazon if you want to do that. And then as you look over here, now we went from 100,000 results to 4,000. So we're getting better. We can add a little bit, children 4 to 8. Let's see if we can get, so now we're down to about 1,000. So we have poetry collection, Scribbled Journeys, Stardust Elves, more poetry collection, like very nice, right? Days Like This. So having, kind of getting to that point where you say, hey, I think that could be a really good keyword phrase for me. Now I'm going to just click on this KDSpy, and it just pulls all the information together. And it's probably going to tell us it's a little bit too competitive because there's 1,000. Yep, but look, popularity is green, potential is green, competition is red, meaning you want to do something to make it a little less. So sometimes I'll come in and I'll play with children's collection of poetry. And maybe I get rid of it over here. And let's see, now I'm down to 800. Or you can say, maybe say treasury, poetry collection instead of collection of poetry. And you can kind of play around a little bit and see if you can get this down. And sometimes we can't, and that's okay. Collection of poetry, inspirational. Let's do inspirational poetry collection. Now we're down to 102. And let's see, now it might say, oh, that's not very popular. So, but KDSpy is one of the tools I use a lot. I also absolutely love Publisher Rocket. I use that all the time. There are keyword functionality is in it. There's also, it's how I select categories for books. Now look at that. So I know we had somebody here that was doing a collection for poetry. This is green, 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 22,000 average monthly revenue. It's got a lot of really fantastic things here. By the way, you can even export the list. You can take a Kindle. You can look at the books. You can look at audiobooks, and it shows you the different things based on this. And by the way, I know I'm sitting here and getting a lot of greens. This is hard. I mean, I do so much of it that I kind of usually know how to manipulate things to get what I want. But it's usually not easy to find those green, green, green. These are like the golden keyword phrases. They're longer tail. This is what we call a longer tail keyword phrase. I'm going to put it in here in the chat here for you. But yeah, this is, you know, as we're doing keyword research, or if I'm doing title research, maybe the name of a series, I might use this to try to figure out the best ones. And for Publisher Rocket, I use that in a way that I'm not sure if everybody is even aware of the category features. This is Publisher Rocket. This is a tool by David Chesson. He is the founder of kindlepreneur.com. Many of you probably have seen his stuff. He is amazing, and you should definitely check out kindlepreneur.com. But he has a lot of free tools, but he also has this tool, this is another one that's a one-time investment and I've had this tool for 6 years, and every time it gets updated, I get a notification that says, Publisher Rocket has just gotten better. We're going to go out and get you the new one. And then it refreshes. And then I've got all the new functionality. What I'm doing, I'll show you the different things it does. I mean, we've got keyword searching here. We also have categories. You can analyze competition and generate Amazon keywords. And there's a bunch of tutorials all here for you to learn. What I find it to be the most critical for is categories. If you are getting ready to publish a book, the first thing you want to do is understand, you want to be a best-selling author, right? You want to get that bestseller badge. Well, all of that is dependent upon who is doing best in your category. So if we go back to Amazon over here, and let's just look at one of these books. I'm just going to go to a category that it's in. So let's see, it is nursery rhymes. Okay, so it's in the category called nursery rhymes. So when you click on the category and you see on the left side, these are the categories. And of course, there's lots of other categories, right? But bestsellers in nursery rhymes, this one is number 1, this one is number 2. So in order to be a bestseller, we need to sell more books than this one does, right? Every hour, Amazon goes and reassesses. So you see it has number 1 bestseller. That's based on the category that it's in. If it was not in that category, if it was in a different category, then we probably, it might not be a number 1. Some categories are more competitive than others. So the goal to become a best-selling author on Amazon is to find categories that are highly relevant, but where you can also at least compete, at least find one that you can really compete in. So here, if we go back to Publisher Rocket for a second, what I normally find is that Kindle is much less competitive. I'm just going to search the Kindle side first. And then if you're finding categories for your paperbacks or hardcovers, then you can go here, or you can just leave it on all and it'll show all. But I want to show you some less competitive categories. And if you're a bestseller on the Kindle version of your book, you can call yourself a best-selling author. Your book is a bestseller on Amazon forevermore, right? And every hour it gets updated. If you know how many sales you need to make in order to be a bestseller in the categories you've selected, then you can plan your marketing accordingly. And so here, I'm just going to go to the children's ebooks and let's see. I'm going to search for the word poetry and see if there's anything with regard. So let me just back up for 1 second. When you come into, these different areas, I went into children's ebooks, every single path, every single category, and there's, I'm going to say a bazillion of them on Amazon, and they're adding new ones all the time. They're consolidating them all the time. They're all listed here, and you can't get that information just everywhere else. So when you have this list of categories, the other thing that it's amazing, right? You can then start planning for the 3 categories that you're going to choose for your book. The other thing that this gives you that's really powerful is it's got this sales to number 1 column. So in the category of action and adventure animals, you have to sell 92 books to be number 1 in that category. Now, this is in a 24-hour period. If you are selling in action adventure historical, you only have to sell 14 books in a 24-hour period to be number 1. So if your book has a tie to history, and it's an action adventure, it's a children's ebook, you're going to very likely be able to rank as a bestseller rather quickly in this, especially if you do a good job launching your book. Maybe you've got a launch team of people together, 25, 30, 50 people, and they're going to buy the book, and you're very careful telling them, hey, these 2 or 3 days, that's where we're going to focus our time. Go buy the ebook. You put your ebook out for 99 cents. Those people go and they spend $1. And all of those dollars count as sales. And then that turns into, as long as you've got more than 14, a bestseller. Now, obviously, you don't want to hit a bestseller for an hour and be done with it. But so you want to also be considering more longer term things of how you're going to continue to drive traffic and continue to sell and remain a bestseller. But it's quite interesting. Here's one: children's books, action and adventure pirates. If you have a pirate story, you only have to sell 11 to be number 1. Okay.
Wow.
Now, if I go here to poetry, and so if you type a word, it will filter this by the word that you type. So anything that has the word poetry in it will show up here. Now, this one only has 14 to be number 1. Children's ebooks, literature and fiction, poetry. This is a perfect category for our poetry friend who is working on that collection of poetry. Now there's humor. Now, some of these don't have any numbers here. Sometimes there are data issues with Amazon. Sometimes it's because this is a ghost category. I know that's probably going to be really confusing, but I'm going to do my best not to overcomplicate it. It just means that these are categories that, even though they show on Amazon as a category, they really point to another category. They point to literature and fiction humorous, and also poetry general. So these are kind of like, it's there for people to go to a Dr. Seuss category, but Dr. Seuss, it's more of like a kind of a virtual category. Everything is really counted in these other general categories in order to get bestsellers. So I just avoid that. The other thing, let's just say the word kindness, let's go back to our previous stuff, right? Nothing. Okay, what about social, like social emotional learning? So I type the word social and I see friendship, social skills, and school life. This looks like a good one for you, but look at the number of sales to number 1. It's a lot. One of the things I can do here is I can click on this and order it by the least number of sales to the best. So that's really good if you have a long list that you want to go through. Show me the ones that are easier to compete in. If you've got something around social activism and volunteering, it's 1 sale to number 1. If you've got something about friendship, social skills, and school life that focuses on money, so financial literacy, it's 4 sales to number 1.
Hey, April, you're in Kindle books right there.
Yep, that's right. I am.
Okay, sorry.
Yep. Yeah, I intentionally selected Kindle books because they're much less competitive. So, and I wanted to show you that if you're looking at how many do I need to sell in order to launch as a bestseller, I would look at Kindle. I would look at releasing your ebook for 99 cents and having a list of really engaged launch team members ready to go and grab your books, give you that lift and elevate, get that bestseller badge, get your book to a bestseller that you can forevermore call yourself a best-selling author. And yes, you still will need to do this kind of research on the paperback and, you know, the print side as well. But this is a good way of just thinking about if one of your goals is to become a best-selling author, this is a good one. And here's a good one for you, for your hummingbird stories. It's 18 sales to number 1. Inspirational and personal growth. I think that's a perfect one. Growing up and facts of life, friendship, social skills. Would you agree? So I think that's a good one for you. And you might say, okay, I know I need to do 18 sales, you know, in a day. Maybe you bump that up to like, I'm going to make sure I get at least 25 sales in a day. And then as you're planning your launch, you're going to plan around making sure you have those sales. Okay. Yeah, manners. There's another one. I don't know if that's a good one for you. But yeah, you can use this. And then the other thing, let's just go back to, here's self-esteem and self-respect. There's, you know, some numbers around this one.
Yeah.
On the right side over here, you'll also see a keywords button. And so it gives you some words that are commonly used with this category. So books under this category often use these kinds of words in their keywords. Inner strength, self-assurance, self-belief, positivity, positive thinking. If we go back to the poetry one, and we just look over there, let's see what this poetry category, what's common for children's poetry, literature, fiction, rhymes, kids, words, language. I mean, obviously, we're not going to just use these single words. We want to utilize things, but I might not have thought of children's literature, kids poetry, children, these kinds of things, just whimsical. That's another word I might not have thought of. Playful, bedtime, creativity. So it gives you some opportunity to kind of peek behind the categories. And then it does look at if you've got a keyword phrase, or let's do AMS keyword. So if you're getting ready to prepare for Amazon ads, for example, and you say collect children's poetry collection. Okay, so I'm typing this, and I want Publisher Rocket to go and get me some keywords that I can use in my ads. So if I click Go Get 'em Rocket, it generates a bunch of keywords that you can use and you can export. Children's poetry collection, and then any bit of any of the titles that it knows based on its data collection that are children's poetry collections, it will name all of those titles as well as the authors. You can see the ASINs, that's the Amazon identifier that you can use to target product ads. So children's poems, Monday's Child, The Same Scott. So there's a lot of mixture of things. Classic poetry for children, right? So there's a lot of really cool things you can do and generate a bunch of keywords that you can use for your Amazon ads, which is really helpful. Michael, go ahead. I see your hand is raised.
First, I'd like to apologize for not paying as much attention as before when you were in the Kindle, but now that you said that, that's genius. So I've just been playing around in it, and there's a lot more opportunity to get in the Kindle.
Yes.
Can you choose different categories for Kindle and then different categories for books? So
You have to, because the categories for Kindle start with the word Kindle. This category for the paperbacks start with the word books.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. I got a lot more to look at now.
And I have a little trick though, when you're getting ready to publish your book, most people will come back to me and say, April, I can't make my book 99 cents. It's my ebook. It's making me, make it $1.99 or $2.99. And the trick is it defaults to like the 70% revenue share on that. Just make sure you've got it at the third. I don't know if it's 30 or 35, but when you do that, it allows you to go with a lower price. So you'll be able to reduce the price. Another thing that happens sometimes with those ebooks is if the ebook creator, that your designer, makes a really bulky ebook, it makes it much more expensive, because Amazon kind of factors in how large the file is, and they add a delivery fee to it. So if you want to make sure that that doesn't happen to you, number one, have a really good designer. But if you've got a lot of images, a lot of really detailed images, maybe even if you've got a really good designer, you may end up with a book that's too big to get it down to 99 cents. So what I would recommend is to create, and you can go ahead and launch your book as a pre-order with no files in it. So that allows you have to put your cover file, but you don't have to upload the interior file right away. You can do that just before your book is going to go live. So you can launch your book on pre-order, and you don't upload the interior file. Just, it says, do you want to upload it now, or do you want to wait till later? Just say wait till later, upload it as a pre-order. It'll let you launch it at 99 cents. And then later, it'll give you a date and say, you must upload your file by such and such day. Great. On that day, you just make sure you upload your big file, but everybody that pre-ordered it at 99 cents is still going to get it for 99 cents. When you upload your big fat file, it might say you must charge $1.99 or $2.99 now. And then some people will then see it at $2.99, but everybody else that got in at 99 cents still has that 99-cent book launch. Go ahead.
Isn't there a way you can, I know you can put it on sale to where is it free for a very short period of time?
Yep. So if you sign up, when you set up your ebook, if you sign up with Kindle Unlimited, so it's like KDP Select, it's called. Check this box if you want to be a part of KDP Select, which is wonderful. Your book shows up as, for people like me that are on Prime, and I pay like $9.99 a month or whatever, and I get Kindle Unlimited. So any book that's out there that somebody has checked off, yes, I want to be in Kindle Unlimited, I can borrow for free. That's one thing. That's a benefit. But the other thing is, as a result of you putting your book in KDP Select, Amazon gives you 5 free days that you can use to promote your book. Every 90 days, it refreshes and says, okay, 90 days have gone by, you get 5 more days. But it doesn't add the ones, if you don't use them, you lose them. So if you decide, and as you sign up for it, it's for a 90-day period. You can then opt out so that it doesn't auto renew. And at the end of that 90 days, if you want to go wide and go, get your ebook into Google Books and Apple Books, and you can go ahead and do that. But what's really helpful with this is, yes, you can do promotions. You can go and get a BookBub featured deal, or you can get a Fussy Librarian promotion and let them send these free ebook promotions to their gigantic lists of people to help them discover your books. That's a great way to use it, but I wouldn't use it when you're launching your book, because if you want to be a bestseller, it must be a sale. If it's free, you can be #1 in free books on your category. That doesn't make you a bestseller, so you don't ever earn that badge. Okay. Oh, the things I've learned over these past 6 years.
That's
You
a
don't
good
have to
tip.
struggle with
Like
that. Oh, yeah. So let's see, I know we're over time, but I'll take a quick look here and see if I've got anything I have, hi, Nicole Smith. Welcome. Nice to see you. You have a question about YouTube. Okay. Nicole says, if you do any readings of your book and post to YouTube, would you check for kids or not? I say yes, because if you want kids to be able to see it, then you might as well check it off. The problem, if you put it out there and you're trying to monetize your content, it doesn't really protect kids if you don't tell people that it is for kids. So it won't allow you to monetize videos that are for kids, but that's okay. The fact that it is available for kids, when my little Kyrie goes on her iPad and she's doing her YouTube Kids, it'll let her access it, or others like that. So yeah, I would. Jenabeth, you're here. Did you hear us talking about you earlier? We had somebody that was questioning printing their books, and I was talking about you for the specific things around printing with Jostens. Nice to see you. Thanks for checking in with us. All right, Renee, go ahead,
Hello.
hon. I see your hands raised.
Yes. I have a question about the Library of Congress.
Mhm.
You have to send them a book at some time.
That's right.
Is it unprofessional to send them an Amazon proof that has the line across it?
Yeah, they want the best copy of your book. So if you have, they don't want a proof copy, they want the best version of it. So if it is if you have paperback and hardcover available, send them the hardcover. If you have an Ingram Spark hardcover, I would say that's fine. But I mean, in theory, they would prefer, if you did an offset and you had one of those available, they would prefer to have that. A lot of people forget to send their books to the Library of Congress. Once your book is published, do that, because they're going to log it in the World Catalog. And that's where a lot the information will be available to libraries and bookstores. And it's just one more way of making sure that your book gets seen and sold.
I have another question, if you have a minute.
Go ahead.
Okay. So when you make your book available, your ebook available through Overdrive for libraries, is there a limit on how big the file can be?
Oh, good question. I haven't done anything directly to Overdrive, because typically I go through Draft to Digital, and then they're an aggregator and they send the file to Overdrive and all those other, and Kobo and Amazon and Google Books and Apple Books. So for me, it's like one less thing to worry about than going directly to Overdrive. Although I could see that there is a benefit of going directly to some of these other platforms, but I do like the convenience of going with Draft to Digital, and they upload it in one place and press a button and it goes everywhere.
I have a feeling that my book is going to be way too big for the typical Draft to Digital platforms.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have a really good designer with your book,
Yeah,
because the right designer will know what to do to make sure those many images that you have in your book do not get so bulky, and that helps reduce the size of the images. And yet it still needs to print. So there's kind of a fine line. You don't want it to be like so low resolution that it wouldn't show up nicely. There's a fine line between that and having these humongous bulky files that just won't work well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Did I lose my friend? So, Cornian, tell me what your question is, my dear. Nice to see you.
Hi, April Cox. Welcome.
Hi.
I miss you last week. Learning about authors, education is very amazing. You are the best.
I can very hardly hear you. You sound really far away. Could you type your question in the comments there?
Okay.
Sorry,
Now,
I'm having, I
plan,
think you've got some
plan,
technical difficulties going on with your microphone.
okay. Plan, my question is you are an entrepreneur. My suggestion you are daily kids lifestyle, author lifestyles, writing, and entrepreneurs lifestyle shared on YouTube channel.
I'm
People,
sorry, I'm still having a really hard time hearing you. Would you mind typing it in the chat for me?
okay.
Okay. Anyone else have a question while we're waiting for Zakanian to type it in the chat here? Have a good evening, Nicole. Nice. Thank you for joining me. Okay. I hope this was helpful, guys.
Okay, I gotta say something on behalf of everybody else in the group that I don't know who they are. Okay. Every time I come onto this group and just listen to you guys talk and the stuff that you say, I was like, take notes, take notes, take notes, because this is really good. This is so valuable.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm happy to do it. And, you know, I want to also let people know that if you've got a book that's published and you're looking for some knowledge about how to manage your Amazon ads, I have an amazing opportunity, but it's only available for a very short time because we're starting again on Monday, and we had an orientation week. So I have people that have joined, and we got together for our first orientation meeting, but I have an opportunity for people who want to join. It's a 12-week training on Amazon ads. It's going to be all hands-on for a small group of people. And then I'm opening it up for anybody that wants to follow along and on the training and get access to all the materials. You'll be able to, watch the training. You just won't be in those small group hands-on sessions, but that for 12 weeks worth of training, where I'm showing you not only how to, like some of these tools that I displayed today, those are just the tip of the iceberg about how to get really great keywords for your ads. I'm going to be showing you how to find your competitor keywords. I'm going to be showing you how to create ads, not just how to create a bunch of ads like some of these challenges and other gurus do, but how to then dial in the ads so that you become more profitable, you sell more books. Not all books do really well with Amazon ads, but my goal in this is to help you understand them and go from confused to confident in this 12-week period. So if you are looking for an opportunity, you can go over to selfpubmadesimple.com, upcoming events, and sign up. I'm going to just put it in the chat here. I do have one slot. Because somebody had to drop out for personal reasons. So I had one slot that was filled for the work group, the small group sessions that just opened up. So I have one more person that I could add to it. And then it's unlimited how many people can be participants and still be a part of having the benefit of all of these recorded sessions and training. And you can, you're still going to be there going through it live if you want to, because I will live stream it just the way I'm doing this now. You just might not be one that's here with me. Like right now, we've got some people here on Zoom that we're interacting with regularly, while others are watching it and learning at the same time. So that I've kind of designated, the small group folks are like the ones on Zoom that are here with me now, and others, like I'm streaming this to YouTube. I won't be streaming it to YouTube, but I'll be streaming it to a special Facebook group where everybody can participate. I'll be able to see questions. They just won't have that extra hand holding in the small group sessions. So if you're interested in any of that, go and sign up. There's a short window for those that are interested. And then I will make the recordings available and let others join. And I'm sure I'll do a lot more with Amazon ads, because this has been like a huge question from so many people saying, I need help, or my book is there, but It's not selling. What do I do? How do I run ads? This is too confusing. I'm spending so much money, or I don't even have one impression. There's so much that can go wrong with Amazon ads, and it can be a money pit. Or you can end up doing really well and making tens of thousands of dollars in profit using Amazon ads. And that's where I'd love to see more of you get. Okay, so that is going to be available, and I'll close with that. Oh, I did want to answer Zucanian's question. How much recharge per refer clients, appointment setter, booking schedule, meeting booked? Okay, so you're looking to do something to help with sales, and is that it, Zucanian? Oh, that's so kind of you. Yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, I think that I haven't really given that any thought for my business. I do have one person that I already who does my discovery calls, and as I expand, and if I'm expanding into certain markets where you are, I'll think about it. At this point, I'm trying to help more by doing like more sessions like this, one to many, and getting people signed up. And I haven't had any trouble filling some of my classes at this point, but certainly if that becomes an issue in the future or there's an opportunity, I will definitely keep you in mind. Thank you for that vote of confidence. I appreciate it.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.